4-0. That is Zach Wheeler's record since returning from the injured list. For starts, for wins. And suddenly the Philadelphia Phillies look like a completely different team than the one that was drowning at 9-19 just weeks ago. The ace is back. The rotation is elite. Mattingly has this clubhouse playing with urgency and accountability. The comeback is real, and it is gaining momentum by the day. But the third base problem has not gone away. 2 home runs in a recent game for Alec Bohm generated some excitement, and credit where it is due. But one multi-hit game does not erase a season of structural offensive failure at one of the most important run-producing positions in the lineup. The batting average is still a disaster. The consistency is still absent. And for a team that is 4 games out of a wild card spot and building genuine momentum toward a playoff push, carrying a black hole at third base is the one correctable problem that Dombrowski cannot afford to leave unaddressed through August 3rd, which is why this trade proposal deserves serious examination from every angle. Josh Jung, Texas Rangers, Philadelphia Phillies trade 2026. Josh Jung to Philadelphia. Gage Wood, Arun Escobar, and Dante Nori to Texas. Let us break this down completely because the fit is compelling, the cost is steep, and the decision this represents for the Phillies organization goes far beyond just fixing third base for the remainder of 2026. Start with what Jung is doing this season, because the numbers make the conversation unavoidable. .320 batting average, .369 on-base percentage, .503 slugging percentage, 5 home runs, 20 RBI, 39 games. Those are not the numbers of a player having a career year that needs to be discounted. Those are the numbers of a legitimate middle-of-the-order threat producing at exactly the level his scouting profile always projected. Right-handed power, genuine plate discipline, third base defense that is competent and reliable. Everything the Phillies are not getting from Bohm, and everything they desperately need from that position. Josh Jung statistics 2026 Texas Rangers third base. The right-handed bat dimension of this acquisition cannot be overstated in the context of everything the Phillies have been dealing with offensively this season. The left-handed pitching vulnerability has been discussed repeatedly, and it remains the most exploitable structural weakness in this lineup. Jung, from the right side of the plate, does not solve that problem completely on his own, but he adds genuine right-handed middle-of-the-order presence that forces opposing managers to think differently about when and how they deploy their best left-handed arms against Philadelphia. You cannot bring in your left-handed specialist to face Harper and then get a free pass against the third baseman anymore. Not with Jung hitting .320 from the right side. Every matchup decision becomes more complicated. Every pitching change carries more consequence. That ripple effect through the entire batting order is exactly what this lineup needs to maximize the talent already present throughout the rest of the lineup. Right-handed bat Philadelphia Phillies. Lineup construction third base 2026. Now the cost. And this is where the conversation requires complete honesty rather than prospect protective wishful thinking. Gage Wood is a legitimate organizational asset. The Arkansas right-hander was selected in last year's draft and has a kind of high-leverage relief pitcher ceiling that makes teams reluctant to include him in trade packages. He has the stuff to move quickly through a system if deployed correctly, and his value as a trade chip in future negotiations is real and significant. Losing him is painful in a way that goes beyond the immediate roster implications. Arun Escobar and Dante Nori represent meaningful organizational depth. 3 of the Phillies' top 5 prospects in a single transaction is not a modest ask. That is a significant reshaping of the farm system pipeline, and for an organization that has already been operating with limited prospect depth due to years of win-now spending and luxury tax penalties that push the draft pick back to 36, this kind of outflow creates real organizational vulnerability. The proposal preserves Aiden Miller, and that matters enormously. Miller is a crown jewel of the Philadelphia system, and keeping him off the table in this negotiation is a non-negotiable element that makes the deal even theoretically palatable. But make no mistake about what is being surrendered. Wood, Escobar, and Nori for a third baseman, even an excellent one, is a kind of trade that requires absolute conviction about 2 things simultaneously. First, that this Phillies team is genuinely capable of making a deep playoff run in 2026 with the right pieces in place. Second, That Josh Jung under team control for multiple years beyond this season represents enough long-term value to justify the prospect cost at a moment when the farm system can least afford additional depletion. Gauge with Philadelphia Phillies prospect value trade cost. The team control element is actually the most important factor that separates this conversation from a pure rental trade. Jung is not an expiring contract rental that gives you one postseason run and then walks in free agency. He is a young, controllable, productive third baseman who would anchor that position for Phillies for multiple seasons. The cost is steeper than a rental precisely because the asset being acquired has genuine multi-year value that extends well beyond 2026. That changes the organizational calculus completely. You are not paying 3 top prospects for a 2-month audition. You are paying 3 top prospects for a legitimate long-term solution at a position that has been a problem for this franchise through multiple seasons of trade, rumors, and performance disappointments. If Jung is a third baseman in Philadelphia for the next 3 or 4 years, if he produces at anything approaching his current season numbers over that extended commitment, the return on this investment looks dramatically better than the immediate prospect cost suggests. Josh Jung team control years Phillies' long-term fit. The Rangers situation creates the trade availability, and understanding Texas's motivation is important context for evaluating the realistic prospects of this deal coming together. The Rangers have been connected to elite pitching acquisitions throughout this deadline cycle, with their team ERA making them a legitimate contender when healthy. But the roster construction requires evaluation, and a team that believes it can contend might view the prospect package as genuine organizational currency worth acquiring in exchange for a third baseman they can replace internally. Dombrowski knows the Rangers organization. The relationship between these front offices is established. Trade conversations between familiar parties move faster and with more mutual trust than negotiations between strangers. That familiarity is itself an asset when deadline conversations intensify in late July and decisions need to be made quickly. Texas Rangers trade deadline Dave Dombrowski 2026. Wheeler's 4-0. The rotation is elite. Duran is back. The lineup is improving. And Mattingly has this team believing in something that looked completely lost just weeks ago. The foundation for a legitimate playoff run is present in ways that were genuinely unimaginable during the 9-19 nightmare. But foundations require structures built on top of them. And the structure the Phillies need most right now is a legitimate offensive contributor at third base who shows up every single night and makes opposing pitchers pay for mistakes rather than pitching around the surrounding stars without consequence. Josh Jung at .320 with a .500 slugging percentage is exactly that contributor. The price is real. The sacrifice is significant. And the organizational courage required to make this deal, while the farm system is already thin, is not nothing. But for a team 4 games out of playoff spot with momentum building in a World Series window that is not expanding with time, the most dangerous move is not being too aggressive. The most dangerous move is being too cautious and watching another October come and go without the ring this roster was assembled to win. So, Phillies Nation, lay it all out in the comments right now. Zach Wheeler is back in 4-0. The team is surging. And Josh Jung is sitting in Texas hitting .320 waiting to be the answer to the one problem this lineup cannot fix itself. Do you send Wood, Escobar, and Nori to Texas and bring Jung to Philadelphia? Do you pay the prospect price, keep Aiden Miller, and bet on this core making a run it was always capable of making? Or is 3 top prospects too steep for a team that needs every organizational asset it can preserve for the next competitive window? Drop your answer right now. If this breakdown has you locked in and fired up about what this Phillies team can still accomplish in 2026, hit that like and subscribe so you never miss a single trade, a single rumor, or a single moment of what is shaping up to be one of the most dramatic summers in Citizens Bank Park history. Phillies Nation, the window is open. Let's go.